I don't know about this 2D Sonic game, guys. I mean, it looks cool, but I don't know. I'll give it a shot. And wait a minute, why does this sound so oddly familiar? Wait! Perfect. 2D Sonic games. Something in the franchise that's always loved by a lot in the Sonic community. Going from what the franchise started out as with the classics to the epic spin-off series of Sonic Advance and Sonic Rush as well as the handheld ports of Sonic Colors and Generations and that. As well as who could forget the memorable episodic series known as Sonic 4. What? And who could forget the one and only Sonic Mania? These games are great 2D Sonic games, each of them being something great and usually always being a fantastic and really fun experience every single time. Especially the 2D modern games in this situation. Well, most of them. All in all, 2D Sonic games are great and really loved a lot by us fans. But after Sonic Mania, we didn't see one for quite some time. And that's for a 2D classic Sonic game. The last 2D Sonic game that was all original and was a modern focused game was all the way back in 2012, and that game would be Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2. Oh, wait a minute, now I know why. But after Sonic 4 Episode 2 released, there was no more modern 2D Sonic that was an original game and not a demake for the 3DS or something. And that was released back in 2012 in the Xbox 360 and PS3 days. I mean, except for me, I played it on my iPad back in the day.
This is fun.
Point is, it's been a very long time since we last had a fully original 2D Sonic game. That wasn't a handheld demake, nor was it a classic anniversary game. A fully original 2D Sonic game, 2D modern specifically, is what we fans really wanted. 2D modern Sonic games always varied in styles, each of them being great with like the advanced games and the rush games. They're all really great, and you could consider Sonic 4 a classic game, but it's got modern character designs, so I'm gonna call this a modern game. So a 2D modern game is something we really wanted, and as good as Sonic Mania was, a fully original 2D modern Sonic game is what us fans was absolutely craving. Having one that was like an HD or something like that and not stuck on the DS would be amazing, but there was likely no chance we were going to be getting one anytime soon with all the classic Sonic hype from around the time. But there was hope for us fans in the year 2021. In 2021, it was Sonic's 30th anniversary, and in the beginning of the year, we had leaks coming out from the one and only Zippo stating that a new 2D Sonic game was indeed coming soon, alongside with the Sonic Colors remaster, a new game collection, and our next mainline Sonic game. That was quite a bit of stuff coming soon, and we were all really excited. And for what it was worth, yeah, he was right. Later that year, we got our Colors remaster being Sonic Colors Ultimate, and the announcement of game titles to be coming in the next year, that the new game collection would be Sonic Origins, and as well as the next mainline Sonic game being Sonic Frontiers. So with those two games officially announced and coming soon, where was the new 2D game? Well, apparently right before the Sonic Central in 2021 was supposed to air, Sega shelved the new 2D Sonic game with no real reason why. Then again, after what we got, I can kind of see why now. So fast forward, Origins then released, and then Sonic Frontiers released, and around this time, the rumors of a new 2D Sonic game came floating back around by the end of 2022. And wouldn't you know, back again from Zippo, and he was stating that the project had been picked back up and was under the codename Sonic the Hedgehog 5. What? So after many months of speculating and wondering when was this thing ever going to get announced, or if it was still happening, in June of 2023 at the Summer Games Fest, I was on vacation. I then get back to my hotel room and well, that came out of nowhere. So at the Summer Games Fest show, literally out of nowhere, a brand new Sonic game was revealed. Keep in mind, we already had our Frontiers updates going on, with our next one at the time being Update 2 to release really soon, as well as we had the release of Sonic Origins Plus on the horizon. So the announcement of a new 2D Sonic game was very unexpected, and with this announcement of this new 2D Sonic game, it was confirmed that there was a new 2D Sonic game in development, and this must have been it. And it's Classic Sonic. Oh boy, I'm sure excited. Overall, a lot of Sonic fans were excited about this new Sonic game. However, I was not. If you know me, which a lot of you may have found me from this video, then you know that my and Classic Sonic's relationship is a very rocky one to say the least. Thus meaning when it comes to a new Classic Sonic game coming out, I tend to not really care, and honestly, it just immediately turns my head away from it. As a matter of fact, the second I saw Classic Sonic in the trailer, any excitement I had for this game was immediately gone. I was just shattered, disappointed, and overall just let down. Here's the thing, when I heard leaks about this game in 2021, I figured that Sega took the feedback we fans gave back in 2017 after forces of us saying, we don't want Classic Sonic anymore. So with that feedback taken, if we're gonna get into 2D Sonic game, it can be just like Sonic Advance or Sonic Rush, having a modern 2D game for the first time since Sonic 4 Episode 2 that was all original. That could be amazing, especially on something like a Switch exclusive or even the consoles of today. HD graphics, it could be amazing. With the boosting formula of Rush or the high speed of adventure gameplay from 3D to 2D like in Advance, so many possibilities of what could be done. But nope, Classic Sonic, ladies and gentlemen. Good old Classic Sonic. Give a round of applause for Classic Sonic, everybody. So while I was pretty disappointed with the fact that Classic Sonic is back again, how did everybody else react to it? Well, actually a good chunk of fans were really excited for Sonic Superstars, and they had a very good reason to be. There were a decent amount of green flags. Naoto Oshima, the real father of Sonic, was back. Apparently the physics from Mania were ripped over into this game. T. Lopes and Jun Sonoe were working on the OST together. Original levels, 4-player co-op, and a new character as well as Fang the Sniper is back too. This is really shaping to be a good Sonic Mania follow-up, wasn't it? Oh man, there seems to be no red flags in sight. Who's developing this game actually? Is it perhaps Headcanon, who worked on Sonic Mania and also who was brought in by Sega to make the Sonic 3 and Knuckles port for Sonic Origins? Or perhaps did Sega finally after so long contact Dimps yet again for the first time in literally years to make a brand new epic 2D Sonic game for us? After all, this game is being outsourced to another company to be made, so who did they get to make Sonic Superstars? Okay. Someone new. That's fine. Arzest, welcome aboard. What's their track record on? What games have they made? Oh, I actually remember that game. I played a lot when I was younger. That's not too bad. What else do they have? Oh, well, you see, maybe they also got, yeah, I got nothing. So after seeing everyone's positive reactions to the game, I figured maybe I should just relax, calm down, take a chill pill, and accept the fact this is what we're getting, and give the game a chance when it releases. Later on, after a few months of trailers and somewhat hype surrounding the game, LEGO exclusives, early Sonic design skin, and one final horizon later, Sonic Superstars, our next Sonic game, was here. And I mean, it has Sonic in it. So Sonic Superstars, while being yet another 2D classic Sonic game, is surprisingly pretty controversial and mixed among fans. Which is really shocking because leading up to the game, left and right, people were over the top excited about another 2D classic Sonic game and giving its praises before release. But why is that? Why is it that this game is so underwhelming? What happened? What went wrong? Well, let's find out together, shall we? Spoilers, it isn't going to take very long to figure it out. So first thing let's talk about with Sonic Superstars is, well, does it actually live up to the hype of what people said when it comes to the gameplay? And it actually does. The gameplay does feel like it's Mania, but with 2.5D graphics instead of pixelated graphics. The rolling and spin dash does feel really nice. I had a decent time with how the characters controlled in this game, especially in co-op. Co-op is crazy in itself, but I did have some fun playing this with my younger sisters. They seem to like it too. Here, have a listen.
Let's see, we could do this one. I might be a bit hard for you girls. So what do you girls think of this game?
A++++
But while playing through this game with the decent controllable characters, there's one problem you'll come across when playing, and that is the level design. Say what you will to me, but I'm not a fan of this kind of level design in Sonic. No disrespect to Naoto Oshima, but this is not it for me. I'm not a fan of his level design in Sonic games. He designed the levels in games like Sonic 1 and Sonic CD, and I love Sonic 1, but some of its levels in that game I'm just frankly not a fan of. Marble Zone comes to mind for this specifically. So when you play this game, you'll notice more similar level design akin to those games instead of something along the lines of Sonic 2 or 3, or heck, even Sonic Mania. What makes me not a fan of this level design is where throughout the level, instead of going fast like in other classic games, there is more slower based platforming. Like pretty much in this game, Sonic has to either stop or slow down. Levels levels akin to Sonic CD and Sonic 1, and that's just not what I'm really a fan of. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I really am not a fan of this at all whatsoever. When it comes to 2D Sonic games, again, nothing against Oshima, but me personally, I'm just not a fan of his choice in level design in Sonic games. I just don't like having to go slow in platforming in this. If I wanted to do slower platforming, I'd go play Mario or something, not a Sonic game. With Sonic, I want to roll downhill to gain speed and whatnot. I want to go fast throughout the level, but with this, I have to feel like I have to do slower based platforming in this game. And sure, you can go on saying, oh, that's what Sonic game is. You learned the level design. No, I'm not learning the level here. Every time I keep having to do something, I feel like I have to either stop or slow down. I'm just not a fan of this, to be honest. And honestly, no offense to Naoto Oshima, but I personally really hope he does not come back to design levels in games. Overall, just not really my cup of tea when it comes to Sonic level design for this. This makes this game very forgettable in my opinion. You know what isn't going to be forgettable though in this game? The soundtrack, because my lord, it is all over the place. When it comes to the soundtrack of this game, it's really varying and all over the place, and that's not in a good way, might I add. It's not like Sonic Frontiers where we go from ambient forest piano to insane EDM cyberspace levels to then heavy metal boss fights, and that soundtrack is a masterpiece, and that is now actually one of my favorite Sonic OSTs of all time now. But with Superstars, it goes from beautiful T-Lope score to Jun Sonoe's, magic, let's say. Make it stop! Sega, have you guys literally learned nothing from the last year with games like Sonic Origins? Jun Sonoe does not need to be making Genesis type music. Listen, this man is fantastic on the guitar. Keep him on the rock music, alright? If it involves a guitar, get him to do it, okay? Now, I know you guys are going to try and call me out because I do in fact like the Sonic 4 OST. In fact, I use the menu music from Sonic 4 as my outro in my videos, well, because it's this thing called good. Here, listen to the comparison from Sonic 4 to Sonic Superstars and you'll see. I get where people are coming from, how they don't like the Sonic 4 OST, but honestly, listening to Superstars again, somehow it sounds worse. The problem with this OST is that it goes from amazing and really good to wanting you to listen more of it, but then it goes to absolutely unenjoyable in a matter of seconds, all at the same time. Songs like Bridge Island, Act 1 and 2 are really good, and honestly, that's it for me. This soundtrack is so all over the place, and I just don't get it. This is the first Sonic OST that's really all over the place. While Sonic OSTs are all over the place when it comes to music, this one is all over the place for all the wrong reasons. It is very obvious that they brought in T-Lopes and last minute to clean up some songs in the OST. Sega, please, for the last time, we fans need to say this. When it comes to Jun Sonoe and making music for the games, keep him on the rock-related music. If it involves a guitar, my man is gonna make a banger, alright? But when it comes to recreating Genesis music, keep him off it, please. Sonic Origins and Sonic Superstars OSTs that have his tracks in there, they aren't that good. Sonic 4 Episode 2 is the best he's done with it, and there's no topping it. Now, I know for this video I'm coming off as a bit of a negative Nancy for Superstars, so let's go ahead and switch things up and focus on the positives I found in my time with Sonic Superstars while playing. Look at that! No Green Hill! Holy crap, look at this everyone, it only took them 12 years to realize that we don't want this anymore! But hey, no Green Hill! Awesome! And that's all I can remember that I actually really liked about the game. That's not a good thing, Sega, that this is the one thing I like! Okay, so after talking about things I like and dislike about the game, it's time we get into the big guns of this video. And that is how I feel overall, because frankly, I am tired of dealing with Sonic Superstars. Honestly, this game is very disappointing. It is such a letdown. Now I know that most of you will just point and say typical Sonic fan hating, but hear me out first please. So I know that a good chunk of you have found this channel thanks to my video on why I'm glad Sonic Mania 2 was supposedly cancelled. And in that video, I talk about how I don't want to see another classic Sonic game again. Well, with how poorly that video aged, honestly, I would take a Sonic Mania 2 with the Mania style and level design over Sonic Superstars any day. The problem with Sonic Superstars for me is that it's not only lacking in good level design or music, but it lacks fun. This game is not fun. And when it comes to a video game for me, stuff I look for besides good gameplay and a good story and fun mechanics and whatnot, one of the biggest things I look for in a video game is, am I having fun? And that is certainly not the case with Sonic Superstars. And listen, I tried to like this game. I did. I truly did try to like this game, but I couldn't. I cannot force myself to like something if I'm not having fun with it. If I'm not liking a game, I can't force myself to say it was good. I just can't. It's like Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. I remember when I saw that with my father. He was looking over to me saying, it was good. I said, no, it wasn't. It was awful because I was not enjoying myself during the movie. I was waiting for something good to happen. That's how I feel about Sonic Superstars. Sonic Superstars is a game where I was waiting to have fun while playing it. I was trying to give it a chance, but I couldn't. I was just sitting back and just mindlessly playing. I wasn't having fun. I played through probably half the game, and afterwards, I just stopped caring. Every time I try to go back to it, I boot up the game and just get bored after playing through one level and just close out the game and play something else. Heck, I didn't even bother to finish this game, nor do I still bother to finish this game, and that probably won't ever change, and no DLC or add-ons will ever change my mind of that fact. I didn't care about spoilers, so I just looked up the final boss online, watched reviews, and honestly, when seeing it, I didn't even care to try and get to it. And it doesn't help that in order to get to the final boss and the true ending, I have to play through the game again with another character, and it's not optional. It's mandatory you play through Trip's story in order to get to it. Not to mention that the story is just really, honestly, hard to follow and makes little to no sense. It just starts off with Eggman having a drawing of this little dragon thing, and then you end up finding it later on in the game. What? It just makes no sense. This all feels so shoehorned and rushed. If you have a game that doesn't even have me wanting to complete it, then you failed as a company, and feel bad because of it, Sega. You truly did disappoint me with this experience. So ever since this was announced, I knew it wasn't going to do well. The way it looked and came off, it looked so mess since day one. Sega, you had the biggest possibility ever to make an epic, brand new 2D Sonic game for the first time since Sonic 4 Episode 2, and could have gave us a game with 2D boost and spin dash like the Rush games, or maybe something like Advance or something like that. Make it fast and epic with a decent story and playable characters in 2D. But no, instead, you gave us an unpolished and unfinished mediocre classic game that no one will remember ever. And here's a message to you watching this. If you're thinking of picking up Sonic Superstars this year, don't. Just don't. At least not at the price it's currently at, that being $60. Wait till it goes on sale. Until then, get better games like Spider-Man 2 and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Those games are amazing, and honestly, that's what I've been spending most of my time with for the past month, not Sonic Superstars. If you want Sonic Superstars, fine. That is perfectly fine. You do what you want. Maybe you'll like it, but don't get your hopes up too high thinking that you're in for a great experience. Because trust me, you're not. Because if you do get your hopes up too high, you, my friend, will be massively disappointed. This is the first time I've ever felt such disappointment with a Sonic game. Not even Sonic Forces. Not even Sonic Forces! I felt such disappointment. When that came out, I couldn't even tell at the time, but by the time I went back and replayed it, I was already checking out with Sonic. But now as a full-time fan again, this feels like a slap in the face of how terrible this game really is and such a letdown. If you like Sonic Superstars, that is perfectly fine. You like the game if you want to, alright? And you continue to play it and be perfectly happy, alright? I'm happy for you that you like the game. Like what you want to like. But in the meantime, I'm just going to put it back on the shelf and probably never touch it again. And I'm just going to go back to 2D games that are memorable, had ambition and passion put into them. And games that are just, well, fun.